really wanted to give back to that community specifically. So that's when I started doing research about the LGBT community in Atlanta, the homeless community in Atlanta, the intersection of that community, and what they needed. So from my research and kind of already previous knowledge, I had a little bit of understanding about this organization. I found an organization called Lost and Found Youth, which is a nonprofit organization that helps to serve LGBT homeless youth in the Atlanta area. So yeah, finding the need. I think, Atlanta has a pretty large population of LGBT people and also a very large homeless population. So pretty big need for that in our city right now, especially since it's being gentrified. There's like a huge lack of affordable housing. Lots of people are on the streets.
Yeah. Sarah, I'm interested if you can describe your contact with the community. I know that this community is has a lot of security issues. They don't want to expose them to a bunch of outside things. So how did you have contact with them? How did you develop your understanding of their perspective?
Yeah. So back in February, once right before coronavirus hit, I was able to do a volunteer orientation with that community. So I got to know their volunteer coordinator, other people that were volunteering, learn about their history, stuff like that, reach out to people. And then over the summer, their thrift store opened back up. So the organization has 2 centers. One is a center for their clients, like emergency housing services, stuff like that. Volunteers typically don't go there. It's a private place. And the thrift store is where they sell donated clothes, items, stuff like that in order to fund their programs. So I went to the volunteer store and I worked there a couple hours a day for 3 weeks, talked to different people that came in, talked to the people that worked there, volunteer coordinators, just to get to know them and their perspectives. A lot of the people that volunteer and work there were previously homeless or identify as LGBT or maybe both, and they just wanted to give back.
Can you describe for us where this is going? What what you see as the future of this project for you?
Yeah. I'm actually super excited for the future of this project. So right now I'm kind of signed up as a social media intern for the organization. So creating content, managing different social media accounts, stuff like that. The volunteer coordinator, her name is Danielle. She talked to me about how she wants to talk more about the sustainability of their thrift store and incorporate sustainability into some of their social media aspects. So I'm gonna plan a social media campaign for them to talk about sustainability and to talk about what their thrift store does that is sustainable and how it helps the community, stuff like that. So I'm hoping to do that sometime in January once the holidays are over. Right now we're really focused on getting donations, getting items for clients. So that's what's going on now. But once that's over, then we're going to push sustainability. And I'm very excited for that. So it should be fun.
Feel free to jump in with any other questions, anybody else. You can listen to this nice music as you think about questions.
So Sarah, I know that you're really passionate about sustainability, and I feel your passion. But I'm just curious about what you feel is the critical need for the community that you're trying to serve, and how what you are doing is relating to that critical need.
Okay. There's a lot of needs that are specific to the LGBT homeless community because there's a huge lack of funding and awareness about the issue. So with the social media account, we hope to reach potential donors and volunteers and people that will come in to shop at the thrift store so that we can gain more money to fund more programs, to help more people. So that's kind of the goal there. And also just to spread general awareness about the organization so that we can like reach more Atlanta organizations, get bigger, more people are aware of us, and just make more connections within the community so that more people are excited and willing to support their goals and mission.
So that has to do with like fundraising and awareness building, but what about actually meeting their needs?
Like, can you give me an example of what you're?
Okay, so if they're homeless, then what are they going to build more shelters? Do they need education? Do they need health, like healthcare? Or sustained like this might be, I don't know if the shelters are short term, but do they need more long term connections within the community? Those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm. I think the bigger goals are to get to a place where there's more affordable housing options for these people, where there's more like job training, more access to food, like high quality food. Right now, it's not super realistic. Right now, Lost and Found has an emergency shelter for LGBT youth. And I think it's like 12 to 15 beds a night. So I think in the future they are hoping to expand that. But for right now, they're just trying to get out and spread awareness in the community and gain more funding so that they can sustain the programs that they currently have, which feed people, which offer job training. If they can't be housed at the Lost and Found place, they'll be sent to other gender affirming and LGBT safe homeless shelters in Atlanta.
It seems like you're super passionate about like this issue, and I think that like that will also be impacted in like your work, and I really like the idea. So that's, and I wondered like if you have had like some ideas on like how to actually like create impact, or like how are you going to like generate awareness, because like stigma is a big issue in the LGBTQ community, like how you explain in your presentation. And I do think that creating like generating awareness is like a very important like place to start right now. So I just like we're wondering if you have like any ideas of that.
Yeah. I think currently I have some ideas. I really want to use our social media platforms to reach out to other organizations in Atlanta that don't have anything to do with the LGBT community, to partner up with them, use them as resources to share our story and like show their support so that their audience can see what we're doing and our impact. Because right now, most of our audience on social media are people that like want to support us. They're already like on board. So I want to partner with other organizations and help get people to spread the word so that people who aren't as aware of this issue, don't really care as much, or just don't know, will be able to see us and our message and platform and hopefully support.
I just wanted to know, how will you be approaching this considering the pandemic?
Yeah. So most of my like social media work is going to be done at home. I have access to all the accounts, so I can do most everything from my own home. When I do go in to meet people, we usually meet outside with masks on. So that's generally the vibe. But as the pandemic like goes up and down, things could change for sure. So I do have to be aware of that. Especially since I'm living with like 4 high risk people, I don't want to ever put myself in a situation where I could contract COVID. That would be really unfortunate. Right now, cases are rising, so I'll probably be staying home for a bit and just working remotely. But hopefully, as things get better, people will wear masks, cases go back down, I'll be able to go back into the store again, take more pictures, help them more in store.
This is like being on hold.
I feel like Susanna has a question.
I do? Okay. I mean, I can have a question. I'm gonna ask the same thing as I did on that Padlet. Oh wait, that's not a Padlet, that's a Loom. Never mind. Anyway, so my question was like, if you will be like taking any inspiration from any other existing campaigns, if there are any that focus on the same subject in other country or region.
Yes, I have a couple of inspiration organizations in terms of how they like manage their social media and what they present. So the Trevor Project is one that has a really good social media. They help serve LGBT youth all over the United States. There are a couple thrift stores in New York that have a pretty good social media presence that I've been looking at, and also local Atlanta organizations that don't necessarily serve LGBT people, like the Atlanta Food Bank. And there's a woman that runs like a fridge business where like homeless people can come and take food whenever they want. So kind of taking inspiration from how they work with their target audience has been good. Like the way they photograph things, what kind of graphic content they post, how they engage. Been taking lots of inspiration from that to try and boost our engagement as well.
Obviously, there's a clear connection with the skills that you already have in photography and social media. So that is a huge strength. What do you think you've gained from this process as far as other skills might go, or things that you've learned in the process that you didn't expect were going to be part of it?
I think some of the most important skills I've learned so far and that I hope to continue to grow in are just like professional communication skills. All of a sudden I have like a internship title now, and I'm like working with all these different adults, which is fun, also a little intimidating, but kind of it's been a skill to grow in, kind of professional communication and digital communication as well. The social media skills, I feel like I have like a decent understanding of, but I'm also growing a lot in that as well, because I don't have a huge background and understanding of marketing or graphic design or anything like that. I'm kind of just learning as I go. Those are two big things that I've been working on. And also just getting over my fear of reaching out to people has been good. It's led me to this. At the beginning of my service learning project, I was like terrified to talk to anybody. I was like, they don't want me. They're never gonna reach back. Like, why would they need me? But as soon as I did, they were like, oh my God, we need somebody to do this. And then all of this started rolling, and now I'm a social media intern. So if there's one thing I learned, it's to not be afraid to reach out to people. Like the worst thing that could have happened was they just say no. Like it wouldn't have been that bad. But yeah, those are the three things that I'm growing in, and hopefully more along the way. We'll see as we go.
Perfect. All right. Shall we kick her out? Or does anybody have any more questions?
This is my least favorite part.
I'll text you, Sarah, when to come back.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Right. Any thoughts on feedback? Any thoughts on further questions? Any other clarifications? Successes?
I feel like the one thing that is like a really strong message in this presentation, like it was in our last presentation, is that whole concept of giving back. And I think that embracing, like putting that message out to TGS students, I think is really important, that they, you know, they understand that giving back to a community can be such a, like a reinforcing kind of thing. The other thing, though, I would recommend that she reaches out to or considers the message that Anouk had. So Anouk was a guest speaker for the Future Fashion, I think, module. And she talked a lot about being a young person and creating networks. And I felt like she had some really good insight that probably is better being articulated from Anouk than from me. But yeah, that whole concept of being, you know, developing your confidence and just going out there, but also this networking aspect, and also like kind of rolling with these changes, like these like this, it's a dynamic industry, and so, you know, capitalizing on those parts of it. But yeah, that'd be basically all I'd have. Anybody else? Susanna, feedback for Sarah.
Why is she picking on you tonight, Susanna?
I actually have no idea. I mean, I didn't do anything. Anyway, my feedback would be, I mean, I think it's great that she's kind of like taking the skills and also what we like, you know, things that are like more associated with young people. Like social media is something that is more associated with young people than, I don't know, managing an entire like place, a shelter. So I think that's good that like she found out that like that might be her strength and that might be what she can help adults most with, let's say. So yeah.
I also think that it makes sense that she has taken, like, that she's being part of something that she's already passionate about in like both areas, in the way that she can help and also like what the problem is itself. So, and I think that makes a lot of sense, especially in not needing to build this entire new skill set for what she's doing, so she can have actually more impact. So I think that that is a very good point, and that she has like taking in this direction. But she also has like a lot of room to grow, because I don't think she has like done like, well, has she explained not to like work for companies? It's more like artistic photography. So there is also room to grow in other parts. So
Cool. Anybody opposed to approving this proposal? He is like, no. Say no. Just kidding.
I'm curious, did she, like, I'm just trying to recall back to her presentation, but did she show any of her actual media stuff in the presentation? Yeah, I didn't think so. I think, well, definitely she'll have to do that when she does the final presentation. We'd like to see some of that stuff. Yeah, I feel like that would have been kind of cool. I didn't ask her, but.
Yeah. Well, this is a proposal, so.
Yep.
In the defense, we shall see it. Full serious face. Welcome back, Sarah. I was trying to keep my face very serious. Didn't work. All right, so we're gonna basically give you just some of our impressions and maybe some feedback, and then we'll tell you whether it's good or not. So there's at least 3 or 4 people who want to tell you something. So Shell, Susanna, Guille, and then anybody else.
Hi, Sarah.
Michelle.
Okay, so I just have a couple of things to say. First of all, super impressed with how you've embraced this, and again, with some of the seniors where you've had to sort of like adjust to a COVID kind of situation, and then also recognizing how you went through many other things before you got to this stage. So yeah, I sort of commend you for your your ability to focus in on an area that's so, I don't know, so meaningful to you, and where you can really apply some good skills. So congratulations on that. What I thought you might do, and it's evident in your, in what you're saying, but I'm just curious if there was a way, or maybe we just don't know it, if it's part of the organization, is this concept of giving back to the community. It sounds like other people are doing it, but I wonder if that could be like a way, a message that you amplify, or it may be that you just didn't highlight it and that already occurs. But I thought that whole concept of being, a change maker, developing confidence through giving back to your community, like basically highlighting your journey and how it helped you, and how it could help other people. So I felt like that might be something that you do. The other thing is that I don't know if you attended a Nooks presentation for the future of fashion. So she was talking a lot about a similar thing as you, this concept of networking in a positive sort of entrepreneurial environment, and kind of embracing and building off of that network that is pretty valuable. Her whole ethos, I thought, was cool. So you might consider chatting with her about that, or else watching the recording of her video. You might have already done that, but I felt there was a lot in what she was saying. So that's my feedback to you.
Thank you.
Popcorn it to Zuzana.
Okay, I just wanted to say that I think it's great that you chose something that is more like associated with young people. Let's say like social media is something that young people can help like adults with. So I think that's a great choice, and that's it. Do I have to popcorn it?
Yeah, it works better that way.
It's only me, so I think it's okay. And we also talked a little bit more that it makes a lot of sense that you are like doing photography and social media, because I think that you're already familiar with, but I think that there is also like a lot of room to grow in the places that like you are focused more on like artistic photography. So maybe like this is new in some ways, but you can still have like a better impact since you know like the skills that you need to know. So like it makes a lot of sense that you have chosen this. So yeah, that's basically it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All of that to say, Sarah, this is a very inspiring project, and we're looking forward to seeing what the final products will look like. Keep doing what you're doing. Well done.
Thank
Great.
you.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Nice.